This is the week's most important harvest. Hello. On Saturday, the International Federation of History and Statistics has revealed the annual classification of the World Football Championship for the year 2021. Within this classification, the National Championship ranked second in Africa, while usually the lead in the Egyptian Championship. At the global level, the Algerian Football Championship ranked 29th, while the Egyptian Championship was 14th. The Brazilian Championship returned to the top of the world ranking, followed by England, Italy, Spain, and France. And on Monday, President of the Republic Abdel Tebboune arrived at Cairo International Airport in Egypt, where he was received by Egyptian President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi. The president embarked on a two-day working and fraternal visit to Egypt. The President of the Republic was accompanied by an important ministerial delegation on this visit to sisterly Egypt, with the aim of strengthening cooperation between the two countries to the level of historical and political relations between the two countries. The Prime Minister, Minister of Finance Ayman bin Abd al-Rahman, received the Qatari Minister of Justice Masoud bin Mohammed al-Amiri. The meeting took place at the government headquarters. During the meeting, the two sides exchanged a wide range of views on the reality and prospects for development Algerian-Qatari relations, in particular legal and judicial cooperation. The Minister of Justice of Qatar came on a three-day working visit to Algeria, during which a memorandum of understanding for cooperation in the legal field will be signed between the Ministries of Justice of both countries. It was also an opportunity for His Excellency, the Minister of Justice of the State of Qatar, to hold meetings with some senior officials and visit institutions affiliated with the justice sector, archaeological sites, and cultural bodies. The Ministry of Culture and Arts announced on Tuesday in a statement the temporary closure of various cultural spaces that attract citizens, postponing all forum study days and all kinds of gathering at the level of institutions under guardianship. This include museums, theaters, cinema halls, exhibition halls, public houses, and training institutions under the guardianship. Also, access to these spaces in the future will be contingent upon showing the permissibility of vaccination for every person over the age of 18. The ministry called on citizens to be vigilant, respect the rules of hygiene and physical distance, comply with the rules of quarantine, and the mandatory wearing of a mask. The ministry stressed that vaccination remains the most effective way to combat the COVID-19 virus. And always with the health sector, where the Ministry of Health decided to license private pharmacies to carry out a diagnosis of the coronavirus by examining the antigens of COVID-19. The sector also indicated that the pharmacist, the owner of the pharmacy, or the assistant can detect the coronavirus through an antigenic test. The decision came after reviewing the opinion of the approval of the scientific committee to follow up on the developments of the corona epidemic, which met at the headquarters of the Ministry of Health on January 20. And back to the president's visit to Egypt, where he said that it enabled rich and fruitful talks. It is part of the ongoing consultation on bilateral relations and the two countries and their contribution to the path of advancing Arab and African cooperation to achieve security and stability in the region. The two sides also stressed the need to work together to preserve the proper position that the two countries occupy on the African level and the southern front of the Mediterranean, the historical, geographical, and strategic position occupied by the Arab Republic of Egypt in building bridges of cooperation with the Arabs on the Asian continent. The African and Arab regional geopolitical dimension was also discussed, in particular which will remain a renewed goal in the strategy of Algerian, Egyptian, African, and Algerian-Egyptian Arab cooperation. The talks also included all issues raised in the region, whether Arab or African, or the challenges facing us regionally and internationally, which included the complete consensus of visions and points of view, and to the need to continue and expand consultation in preparation for the Arab Summit, which Algeria is hosting, which will be briefed on the reasons that provide a common ground to reach consensus and launch a joint Arab action in a new spirit. It is based on giving priority to unifying common denominators and the need to realize confronting challenges within the global context and what it entails, with overt or hidden agendas. The Director of Training and Higher Education at the Ministry of Higher Education and Scientific Research, Saidani Boualam, announced in a statement the decision to suspend attendance, pedagogical activity in university institutions and centers until the beginning of next February, while continuing to receive lessons remotely in parallel with continuing the vaccination campaign for the sector. According to the spokesman, this is part of the measures taken to keep pace with the health sector. He added that this comment also included the organization of the first semester exams, where the dates will be announced later according to the privacy of each university institution. And on Thursday, the Algerian Football Federation announced the appointment of Jahid Zvizev as a new general manager for the first national team. Zvizev holds the position of president and general director of the General Assembly of Food Industries and Logistics, and previously served as vice president of the Algerian Football Federation during the era of former President Mohamed Raourawa. And also on Thursday, at Boufarik Air Base in the 1st Military Region, a shipment and transport took place on board the military aircraft of the Algerian Air Force towards Tunisia Carthage Airport. 1 million doses of the anti-COVID-19 vaccine was given by Algeria to Tunisia in support of its efforts to combat the pandemic. The President of the Republic, Abdelmajid Tebboune, offered his condolences to the families of the deceased of the national duty, the working Lieutenant Merbah ad-Din Sidhom, and the contract Corporal Nassim Ben Aliwa, who were martyred during a clash with a terrorist group on the national border in the Hassi-Teririn region in the operational sector in Gzem, in the 6th Military District. Professor Kamel Genouhat, the president of the Algerian Society of Immunology, said that very high rates of Omicron infections have been recorded. This leads to spontaneous mass immunity. He revealed that Algeria will record a decrease in the number of infections with the coronavirus after a few days after reaching the peak. The professor expected that corona will turn into a seasonal virus and almost all countries will head to the conquest after next March. Because, as he said, we have reached the point of coexistence with the virus. The same spokesman confirmed that there is no person who has not been infected with the Omicron mutant, saying, "We are optimistic about achieving autoimmune and spontaneous group immunity after infection." We achieved the end of this number, and this was the most important harvest of the week. See you next week.